Hello, I'm Archibald Chesterfield III, AC3, known as the Pontiff, the Guru, the Governor's Governor. And today I would like to answer the tough questions on YouTube. Today I'm going to discuss the Rolex Submariner versus the Rolex GMT. Now, everybody knows that the two top Rolexes in the sports model range are the Submariner and the Rolex GMT. What is the better choice? This is a question I am continually asked time and time again. Hey Archie, should I go for a subby or do I go for a GMT? That, my friend, is the question. Rolex dive watches are very hot pieces. However, in recent times, the Rolex GMT has become extremely popular. This happened in the late noughties when Rolex released the Rolex Batman GMT ceramic. This was a game changer. This changed the entire game plan with this choice here in mind, because the Rolex GMT for many years was quite soft. It was soft. It was seen as the ugly duckling in the Rolex sports range. But when Rolex released the Batman fickle fashion, changed the game plan for all involved. And it's something that has happened with such a fast speed that people have never seen this happen before. The Rolex GMT range used to be extremely soft. And what happened with Rolex releasing the wonderful Batman? It's done a number of things. The Batman is extremely popular, and what's happened is not only has the Batman relaunched the entire GMT range, but it has made the previous models of GMT, the pre-ceramic versions, extremely popular. Why is it so? This is the reality that is the Rolex GMT versus Submariner dilemma. Many people out there are confused as to what is the best Rolex sports watch to have. What should they go for? The Rolex GMT and the Rolex Submariner date are priced roughly within the same regions on the new and used market. Many people consider the two hand-in-hand sports icons, which is very, very true. However, what is the better watch to go for? So let's just have a bit of a discussion about the two watches. So, firstly, the Rolex Submariner. The Submariner itself there, it's a very special piece. The Sub itself is a piece which is for the diver. It's a dive watch for water sports, diving, etc. The range of the Rolex Submariner is now 300 meters waterproof. With its triplock crown, this piece is an icon in the Rolex sports range. The Rolex Submariner itself there has a unidirectional, uni being one-way adjustable bezel, which allows for the tracking of time underwater. You merely move the zero function, the zero triangle, to the current minute hand of the time, take your dive, and this will time how long you've been underwater for. This is ideal for deep diving where time and your rate of descent and ascent are very, very important functions. So this function itself there has allowed people to really enjoy their diving with a luxury wristwatch on their wrist. A luxury, top-end luxury wristwatch. Now the Submariner itself there has moved into the boardroom. It is now such a trendy, it is such a now in-demand type piece. The Submariner can be used in many environments. James Bond, our favorite man of mystery. He allowed this watch to be worn with the suit. That's correct. Our good friend James Bond allowed this watch to be worn with a tuxedo, changing the face of fashion forever. There is no comeback to the fact that James Bond wears this particular piece, and there's no getting around it. If James Bond can do it, why can't you do it? So the Submariner itself there has this unidirectional bezel, which is a fantastic timer. We can use this timer for so many things. Not only descents into the water, we can use it when we enter a parlor and the half-an-hour clock starts ticking. We also have the beauty of when we're visiting a parlor and our possessions are vulnerable, because of the waterproofing, we can wear this said watch into the shower, which is a very useful function indeed. The Rolex Submariner itself there is a waterproof dive watch which serves many, many purposes. There are many fantastic things one can do with this watch on one's wrist. It's a very, very useful watch. The timing mechanism by the rotating unidirectional bezel is very useful. We can time our lunch break. We can time how long we've been in a parking bay. We can time a lot of things on this type of wristwatch timer. So when it comes down to what is the greatest wristwatch of all time, the Submariner certainly holds its own up there. The next piece is the GMT. The Rolex GMT. This watch is an icon. The GMT was originally invented for Pan Am. That was the American airline of choice, Pan Am. They requested a special wristwatch for their pilots to use in flight. And this is a very, very spectacular thing that happened. Pan Am released a GMT Greenwich Mean Time wristwatch. This was a watch which you could use to track 2 time zones at the same time. The Rolex GMT. Now the GMT and the GMT Master 2. What's the difference? Well, the GMT Master 2 has an independently adjustable 24-hour hand, whereas the 24-hour hand on the GMT is merely 24-hour time in relation to the hour hand. The GMT uses the rotating bezel to adjust for different time zones. However, on the GMT Master 2, we also have the 24-hour independent adjustable hand as well as the rotating bezel. The GMT watch itself there is such an icon. It's become the explorer's choice. It's become a wristwatch which is popular with pilots, airline pilots, commercial pilots, as well as many hobbyists who grade themselves as aviation nuts. The GMT function wristwatch. With the decline of airline ticket prices, the middle classes have embarked on travel around the world. The GMT watch is the ultimate travel friend to take when you are going overseas. It's a wonderful piece of kit which you can really have a lot of fun exploring and enjoying. This is the change. This is the change. And it's great to see that this type of wristwatch is very, very popular with the up-and-coming lower, middle, and upper classes. It seems to defy the entire class barrier. The GMT function wristwatch is such a wonderful piece of kit which can be taken on holidays, it can be taken on exotic travel, it can be taken and shown off for many, many purposes. The GMT function wristwatch is a fantastic aid for the modern day traveler. Need to keep track of time back home? Well, a GMT watch may be the perfect answer to your horological needs. That's right. The GMT watch is the perfect companion for somebody to take on their travels and to enjoy life and see life as no one has seen it before. The GMT function wristwatch is a very useful tool for the frequent flyer and traveler. So the question is, what is the best watch to choose? What would I recommend? What is the verdict? Well, let's be completely honest there. I would normally say for most people, probably the Submariner is more useful. The reason I say that is because the Submariner is much easier to read. See, the GMT incorporates 24-hour time. It uses a 12-hour dial to display 24-hour time. Most people out there aren't exactly that au fait with how to read 24-hour time. So it can, in fact, be a little bit on the harder to difficult side. It can be much harder for a layperson to do this. So I really do believe in many, many instances it might be more beneficial to actually have a Submariner as a timer than to actually go for a GMT function watch. So people generally are stupid. People are stupid. They are fools. They have no idea on how to read these type of appliances. So my honest advice would be to get a Submariner. The Submariner is a much easier tool to use. 24-hour time can be quite complicated, considering that the average American hated math in high school, doesn't understand the concepts that there is a world outside the US of A. I really do think for most people out there, corporate cowboys included, the GMT is a bit difficult to read and use. So I would highly recommend the Rolex Submariner as the perfect choice for the traveler, the businessman, the individual involved. The Rolex Submariner, easy for people to use and read. I'm ArchieLuxury. Tell me what you guys, comments below, like, subscribe, and tell your friends what you think of that.
Okay?